So, welcome into our week 2 matchup between the Denver Gigaliths and the Buffalo Bouffalants. The Buffalo Bouffalants bringing in the Palafin Meganium Blaze Breed Tauros, the Aurorus, Sylveon, and Pidgeot. And I think I'm going to bring in the Mastermind duo. I think this is what we run with first. Looking to get my first win here as I am coach of the Denver Gigaliths. Much respect to Kate. Good luck. And we shall see what happens. Here in one of our many matchups of the Victory Road League. And we are underway, folks. She's going to start off with her Aurorus and her Meganium. I am going to set up, she's going to set up a Snow Running, but I'm going to overpower that with the Drizzle right away. And I think right away I'm going to go for a Flash Cannon onto the Aurorus and an Ice Beam onto the Meganium to try to counteract whatever she's trying to set up with this Aurorus and Meganium duo. Also a very interesting duo to lead off with, and a very lovely mon in Aurorus. We love to see Aurorus being ran whenever and as often as possible. Meganium gonna go off with a Solar Beam to start. Has to absorb that light. Flash Cannon onto the Aurorus. One hit KO for Denver. As we are off to the races. Ice Beam from the Politoed onto the Meganium. Does about half. What does Buffalo decide to do it? It's going to bring out that Solar Beam. Got to keep that in mind with Politoed. So potential chance that I will switch, but I also might keep it out here. I definitely think I just try, or actually, I'm going to back up. I'm going to use Ice Beam against the Meganium. And then Thunder it's perfectly set up right here with the rain. They're going to use Fly. Meganium's going to use Solar Beam. Can my Politoed eat this up? They're going to eat it up real good. Thunder's still going to hit the Pidgeot. There is another point to Denver. The Pidgeot is going to try to fly away, but can't. Ice Beam onto the Meganium. It still survives with 2 hit, like basically 2% of its HP. The Archaludon Politoed set up. And I think we just go for another set. And while they're still raining up, I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to go for the Thunder due to the rain still having 3 turns set up. What does Kate have to counteract this? Of course, she has her Palafin, but cannot turn it into the 0 to hero mode, unfortunately. Which actually kind of works in Denver's favor. And here comes the Aura Sphere onto the Archaludon. Does a decent enough damage. My stamina is going to go up. +1 defense. Giga Drain from the Meganium onto my Politoed, and a point, the first ever point for Buffalo, is in the books, folks. My Thunder's still gonna hit this Palafin, gonna knock it out. Another point to the Denver Gigaliths, a critical hit for good measure. Down goes the Palafin. Here comes my leftovers secured. And I think for good measure, Or actually, sometimes like I won't hit Pokemon, and I'm just gonna set up an Iron Defense. Couldn't be more proud of Kate and Buffalo for getting their first point after getting no points last week. So a big improvement already for Buffalo and the Bouffalants to steal a point. Here comes the Ice Punch for good measure. And down goes Meganium. 4 regular points and a match point to Denver. A point to Buffalo as we head into the second of a best of 3. All right, folks, we are here for the second match set between Denver and Buffalo. She is going to run the same team, but I have some cheeky stuff under my wing just for her. Want to debut both of my squads here a little bit better compared to week 1. And just as a notice, the Denver Gigaliths will be taking on the San Diego Drampas, and the Hawaii Toucans will be taking on this very same Buffalo team. All right, and here we are. Match set 2 between Buffalo and Denver. She's going to lead off with the Palafin and Meganium. And I think right off the rip, I'm going to set up some Stealth Rocks, and I'm going to set up a Swords Dance on my Mimikyu. Just doing a little play to set some things up here. And there goes my Stealth Rocks and my Swords Dance to put Mimikyu at +1 attack. Flip turn onto my Mimikyu is going to drop down the Disguise. A critical hit for good measure. Shout out to you, Kate. My Disguise is going to bust down, and her Palafin's going to go back to her. Very, very interesting choice nonetheless. Can Buffalo extend this to a Game 3 set, or will the Denver Gigaliths do what they have to do here? Leech Seed is going to come out from the Meganium and is going to seed the Tinkaton. Does a decent amount of damage. I think my mode here is just Gigaton Hammer, and I think we're going to Phantom Force and try to get this Meganium off the field before it tries to become too much of an issue. Now this matchup is a little bit different due to the fact that I have this second team and have to set some things up a little bit differently. But here's my Gigaton Hammer onto her Sylveon. There is a point for Denver. The Sylveon is going to go away. Phantom Force from my Mimikyu. Now I am going to take damage from this Leech Seed from the Meganium. And there is a Reflect up, which is going to make the opposing side, aka me, weak against my physical moves won't be as strong. Choices to be made. Who is she going to send out next? I, of course, have Mimikyu in the Phantom Force. She's going to send out Palafin, who is in his 0 to hero form. I do get the Stealth Rocks damage onto him. I am going to do a Protect onto myself for this turn, as Mimikyu, like I said, is in that Phantom Force. And what is to be decided here? And here comes my Protect on my Tinkaton. Phantom Force on to the Meganium. Does actually a decent amount of damage due to that +1 Swords Dance. Palafin is going to take a dive and is going to hide underwater. Giga Drain onto my Mimikyu is going to restore some of that health right back up. And she's going to get the Leech Seed. So like I said, I got to get this Meganium off the field as soon as possible. So I think what we do is I'm going to just Gigaton Hammer. And I'm actually going to Phantom Force the Palafin. Does a decent amount. Let's make our Mimikyu disappear. Palafin's going to use Dive. He's going to use it against Isabella, the Tinkaton. And down goes my Tinkaton. And that's another point to Buffalo. The Giga Drain is going to come out. And the question is, how do we handle this? Well, I think I know how I handle this. Gonna send out my Feraligatr. We're gonna honestly just right away into an Ice Punch. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about, I probably should have sent out Sinishta or whatever, but it's actually perfectly okay. I think we're gonna be fine. So yeah, let's go ahead and Mega Evolve our Feraligatr, aka the Toilet Bowl. Phantom Force onto the Palafin does a decent amount of damage. And here comes my Ice Punch onto the Meganium. There is another point for myself. Here comes a Draining Kiss from the Palafin onto my Feraligatr. Now, what is this last Mon that she is going to bring out for us? And it's the same Pidgeot she had from last time. Those stones are going to point into the Pidgeot. I think I'm going to take this turn to Dragon Dance and Phantom Force against this Palafin. More than likely, her Pidgeot is going to try to set up Fly based on what she did last turn, but I could be wrong. Very, like I said, interesting choices to be made. Yeah, I'm going to do my Phantom Force. Try to get rid of this Palafin. Pidgeot's going to use Fly like I predicted. I'm going to Dragon Dance. I'm going to raise my attack and I'm going to raise my speed. Here comes Aura Sphere from the Palafin. It's not going to do as much due to that. My Reflect is going to wear off. And I truly think, because I want to assume Pidgeot should still be faster. I'm questioning what Mon they went for. They're not. Phantom Force onto the Palafin, enough to knock it out. Denver 1 Mon away from securing their first win here in the Victory Road League. Fly is going to be used. She's going for the Feraligatr. And there is no escape for this Pidgeot. My Feraligatr is now faster than her Pidgeot. And as long as everything hits the way that it is supposed to, Denver will be walking out of here with a win. And Buffalo will secure themselves a couple points here, which is actually huge. GG's to Kate of Buffalo. Super proud to get my first win here in the Victory Road League. Much respect to Kate and Buffalo. I much appreciate her time and competing against me. So I don't have typically anybody to post-game interview me just for this first season, unfortunately. But I will say GG's to Kate of the Buffalo Bouffalants. She actually was able to snag 2 points away from me, which was not what I was prepared for, I will say. And I think my goal here in the second week after losing to New York the way that I did, I knew that I could play better. I knew that if I studied a little bit harder, studying team compositions, I knew that I could compete and not only secure points, but also get wins. nonetheless, Buffalo will be taking on Hawaii next week, which will be a very fun match to watch, as both teams are both teams don't have a win. Buffalo is now 0-2, Hawaii 0-1. But props to Kate, props to Buffalo getting 2 points. That is huge here. Every point matters. And I'm on to San Diego. I have a tall task ahead of me, possibly the #1 team in the league. And all I've got to say is that I will try to do my hardest to study what Matt and the San Diego Drampas have in store for us. But nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.